Story 1. Improve my poor confidence. Confidence affects so many other things like how you talk, choice of words, voice tonality, body language, how you think, what choices you make, posture, general mood and vibe, energy, and a slew of other things. And a lot of those things play a part in making you more attractive. Edit. Wow, this really blew up. Thank you for the awards and comments. Edit 2. I can speak English, I swear. Story 2. Be self-sufficient and already working to meet my own needs. I think when women can feel that you want something from them, it's repellent. If I go out with women now, I can just try to enjoy the night and get to know them, rather than me feeling super nervous and like it's a life or death audition. I don't need anything from them, so we might find that we get along or we might not, and it's cool either way. I think that's why it goes a lot better for me now. I'm already doing what I want to do with my own life, so I'm not looking for anyone to fill a hole in it. Story 3. Worked to become someone I could respect. When you learn to appreciate yourself, other people start to appreciate you as well. I wasn't someone I liked very much when I was younger, and it was reflected in the path I was on, the decisions I was making, and my demeanor overall. As I matured, I went over the qualities I needed to work on and actively worked to improve upon them. A few superficial, but most related to my behavior. Cultivating a social circle, becoming a better communicator, striving for a less cynical outlook on things, taking accountability. I became happier, more confident and outgoing, more empathetic and patient, and overall became more pleasant to be around. As a result, I attracted people who would have been turned off by the sad sack that past me was. Love yourself, and it will give others cause to love you. You'd be amazed at how much self-care will positively impact those around you without even actively trying. Story 4. If I had to pick one thing, I developed a good sense of humor. I did well with the ladies in college even during my fat guy phase. If you're fun to talk to and don't look too bad, you've got a pretty good starting point. Story 5. Taking care of yourself, hygiene, exercise, decent diet, etc. I think most people will prefer a less physically attractive person who takes great care of themselves versus someone who is just really attractive physically but treats their body poorly. Story 6. Mine was learning to immediately engage them in small talk after the first hello. I used the following strategy to get her talking about herself. 1. Family. Does she have a big family? Where have they lived? Occupation. What does she do or want to do for a career? Recreation. What does she like to do for fun? What are her hobbies? Where does she like to travel? Dream. What are her goals in life? Where does she want to live? It works about 80% of the time if there's any physical chemistry. Story 7. Getting leaner. The more fat I dropped, the more my jawline would show and my V-shape would show. I am now at this point where I get positive attention and women notice me. I am seeing a girl now, and when I take my pullover off and my shirt rides up, she just touches me and hugs me. I have been cutting and gaining fat for years now. Every time I get leaner, girls enjoy my company more than when I had a lot of tummy and neck fat, while my personality was the same. So yes, losing fat and looking lean helped me a lot. Story 8. Stopped caring about attracting women and started caring more about taking care of myself and engaging in things I like to do. I go and engage in my hobbies like rock climbing or soccer or whatever. Through my activities and taking care of myself, such as haircuts, shaving, and general hygiene, I met many people and made friendships and eventually relationships. Story 9. Being myself, I stopped trying to be something or someone I wasn't. I wore clothing I liked, did things I liked, and acted how I wanted. Doing that attracted the type of person that matched with me. A few months later, I found a wonderful girl like me, and we have been together for 8 years now, married for 4. Story 10. Staying true to yourself. Being genuine and honest almost all of the time has probably gotten me the furthest with women. I sense that many of my peers are not being genuine in their relationships with women. This is just stupid. Being genuine is attractive, can help you find the right girl, and make friends with the ones that you don't fit with. Also, sticking to your principles in times of doubt or challenge makes you seem reliable. Just be open to criticism and suggestions. Hair. I grew my hair out. It is apparently long and curly, probably one of the greatest factors. Treating women like a normal human being, Self-explanatory. Just started to view women as potential friends rather than partners. Took out a lot of pressure. Finding a style. I found my own style of clothing and stuck to it. It is simplistic but semi-formal casual. I usually wear shirts and sweaters with colors that suit my complexion. Having several interests, basically being enthusiastic about and invested in a handful of different things while genuinely expressing this is charming. I grew up quite a nerd. Being insecure, I did not like to express my love for my hobbies. Once I grew more confident, I started explicitly expressing my love for magic. The Gathering, live-action role-playing, movies, physical fitness, and philosophy. Being in a relationship or having female friends. As other comments have stated, female approval attracts female attention. It is like a safeguard. Story 11. Being kind to the little girls in my life. One of my nieces, whose father was not an actual presence in her life, asked me to walk her down the aisle at her wedding. She looked up to me a lot, and I taught her many things during the times I babysat her. When my niece asked me, and I said yes, my wife whispered in my ear, "I have never wanted to be with you more than right now." Apparently, it's a big deal to women who walks them down the aisle. Story 12. Not trying to date them. All three of my relationships just came from my best friend being a woman. I didn't use a playbook or make moves. We were just good friends. Then, after a while, realizing we wanted to spend more time together, just the two of us. My last relationship started as a crush, and I tried to make a move on that but got shut down. Fortunately, she was open to staying friends. Soon after the rejection, she got into another relationship which stung, but I still stuck around and we hung out in similar friend groups. Eventually, we were both single again and I was crushing on someone else and talking with her about it. That seemed to remove previous awkwardness of me crushing on her and we became each other's best friends. Still are, but we have also now been married for 4.5 years. Story 13. If I had to pick one, it would be dance. I'm not super strong or anything, but I can do a mean dip. Anytime I've gotten a woman on the dance floor and hit that dip at the right time with the right beat, man, they melt. Related to this, I know what I'm good at and what is attractive about me, and I go places where I can display that. Or when since now I mostly dance with my wife and daughter. If I could add a few more. 1. Show active interest in them, also known as really listening and engaging in conversation, and having what I learned show up in different ways. Understanding myself and being able to articulate my passions and hobbies in an interesting and engaging way. Great smile. Yeah, I'm probably a 7 or 8 out of 10, but I've got a great smile that is warm, welcoming, and authentic, and that, from women I've dated and my wife, makes me more attractive than if I was just neutral or otherwise. Story 14. Increasing my confidence. I did that by working on my body, flirting more, and not viewing women as these perfect, goddess-like beings that don't have the same issues we do. Story 15. Do not be nervous talking with them. Ask open-ended questions about what they like, what they would do if they won the lottery, or who was the most influential person in their lives. Something that shows you are interested in them as a person, not as a sex object or because of their occupation. Make eye contact, joke around. I went from being extremely awkward and nervous talking with women to being really at ease and confident. And this confidence in being myself, without being overly cocky or arrogant, does wonders. It is an amazing change in how women react to this. Story 16. I made her a handwritten note to ask her to be my girlfriend. We worked at a corporate dealing with a lot of agreements and emails, so I made a relationship agreement on a small paper with a signature if she wanted to be my girlfriend. Story 17. I tell this to anyone who will listen. Just try a little bit. Get a haircut. Shave and maintain your facial hair in a way that fits your face. Shower regularly and get soaps that smell nice. Keeping proper basic hygiene goes a long way. Smell is the strongest sense tied to memory. Make that smell impression a good one. Story 18. Treating them like a person and not an object and letting them know if I am interested in something beyond friendship without hesitating too much. Then accepting the results, good or bad. Story 19. Being in a relationship, or to further the point, not seeing women as potential partners. Somehow, not seeing women as potential partners makes them like me. A year after my ex and I broke up, I went out with some friends, one of whom I had a crush on. I was so focused on talking to her that I didn't realize having a casual conversation with a friend she had brought with her would make her friend interested in me. When I was with my ex, I used to work in a bar. I never had more numbers slipped to me than when I was with her. Obviously, I discarded the numbers. After we broke up, not even a hint. It's like they can sense desperation or the desire to be in a relationship on you. Story 20. Stopped getting in my own way. I thought I would never get laid because I was not attractive, so I never even tried. I finally got a little confidence and started approaching women. Found out I was actually pretty good at it. Story 21. I was probably the most popular kid in my school during my high school years, which was weird because I grew up feeling like a loser in elementary school. Around the age of 13, I lost a lot of weight, worked out, and improved my attitude significantly. I'm 23 now, so I feel like I can talk about this without feeling like I'm bragging. I was genuinely kind to everybody, I was funny, and I was very good at nearly every subject, so I always had people asking for help with classes. I also had never dated a girl, and for some reason, a lot of girls really loved that about me. I even had 2 girls almost fight physically over my attention. I definitely wasn't a player, but I did love the attention, though I acted like I didn't. Now that I'm 23, I don't talk to 95% of the kids I went to high school with. I have a girlfriend, a house, and am working on getting a better job. Life is good, but I do sometimes miss the days when everybody was my friend and I had lots of girls wanting my attention. If anybody in high school is reading this and you're having a good time, enjoy it. Seriously. Story 22. Started working out consistently. In my teenage years, I was socially awkward and had no game at all. I got a job at the local Young Men's Christian Association and started working out just for fun. I got into really good shape. 5 feet 10 inches, 170 pounds, daily runner, and my set repetitions on bench were 285 pounds. My social awkwardness turned out to be a surprise bonus because I didn't carry any of the arrogance that a lot of those guys had. Girls would blush and say hi to me. I would blush and say hi back, and they all came after me because I was too naive to have the obvious teenage agenda. At 18, I got scooped up by a girl in her mid-20s and grew up quickly. Story 23. Trying to relax at a party. While everyone was drinking and dancing downstairs, I was upstairs sitting on a rocking chair on the balcony. Girls would just randomly show up one by one. I wouldn't call it attraction necessarily, but I wasn't even trying to have conversations, and they just kept coming up to chat about stuff. Story 24. I'm not a massive ladies' man, but I have always received a decent amount of flirtation and compliments in my life. However, the period in which I received the most in the shortest time was when I started being more confident, wearing nicer clothes, and always wearing cologne. My big selling point seems to be my hands. 3 women pointed out my veiny hands in a couple of months, and I noticed myself getting checked out a few times while out in public. It might not sound like much to some guys, but it was a game changer for the guy who was just getting over the thoughts that his ex was the last woman he would attract. Story 25. Learn to focus on yourself. Gym, money, hygiene, style, social, and ignore others. When you're confident and don't pay attention to them, they notice. Story 26. Stop caring about getting laid. Women pick up on confidence and, more importantly, safety. Treating women as people first, with no expectations of anything romantic or sexual means you are both safe to actually get to know one another. Not having to worry about the transactional and frequently toxic way men pursue women makes it way easier to see the person you are talking to for who they are. If chemistry does happen, the rest is natural. Story 27. Basically, being happy and positive about myself. Said differently, confidence and comfort in the right places. Confidence in what I was good at, comfort with what I wasn't, being deliberate about what I liked and didn't. Story 28. Just be confident in everything you do and don't be ashamed of anything. The more I date, the more confident I become with geek and nerd hobbies. I've straight up asked women if they want to see my Bionicle collection or play Dungeons and Dragons with me. If you own up to those things with confidence, you'll win. Edit. Also, take a shower. Story 29. I bloomed really late. Genetics or God made me 6 feet 6 inches, and I became pretty handsome from my mid-20s to now. I also hit the gym and put on a lot of lean muscle. The amount of attention I get from women now is insane. Dating apps are blowing up, frequent sex, always getting looks in public from men too. So yeah, I followed rule 1 and 2 and it worked.